When a woman ignores you, she's not always walking away. She's watching, testing, measuring your strength without saying a word, and most men fail. They chase, they beg, they send paragraph texts, hoping for a single word reply. They start to doubt their worth, thinking her silence means they aren't enough. And that's exactly why they lose. Because attention is power, and the moment you act like you need hers, you give her the upper hand. But what if you could flip the script? What if her silence became your silence? What if you could walk away, not out of anger, but with such quiet confidence that it shatters her ego, makes her question her hold over you, and forces her to feel what she thought she'd never feel? Your absence. This isn't about games. It's about mastering the mindset of a man who cannot be ignored. And today, you'll learn the 3 ego-shattering steps to do exactly that. The ego game. Why her silence isn't what it seems. You think she doesn't care anymore, that the coldness, the distance, the silence means she's moved on, that she's out there living her best life, unbothered, while you sit there refreshing your messages like a fool. But here's what most men never realize. Her silence isn't the end. It's the beginning of a game you didn't even know you were playing. Not a game of love, a game of ego. And in this game, the first one to react emotionally loses. Women don't test you with words. They test you with absence. They don't want to see if you're sweet. They want to see if you're strong. They want to know if you have an inner core, or if you're just another man whose identity collapses the moment they withdraw approval. This is the harsh truth. When a woman ignores you, she isn't just being cold. She's watching, not for your words, but for your energy, your posture, your reaction, your self-worth. Because how you respond when you're deprived of validation reveals exactly who you are underneath the mask. You think you're in pain because you miss her. Number. You're in pain because her silence exposed a deeper wound. You don't know who you are without her attention, and that's why most men fail. They don't understand that this isn't about her anymore. It's about them. Their reaction becomes their own undoing. They chase. They ask what went wrong. They post thirst traps to get noticed. They try to win her back, as if love was a prize awarded to the most desperate. But in doing all that, they don't just lose her. They lose themselves. Because attention-seeking is weakness disguised as effort. And once she sees that weakness, she can't unsee it. Let me tell you something raw. The moment you respond to silence with desperation, you confirm her power. You tell her without words, "You're above me. You control how I feel. You determine my value." And the irony? She might have still been undecided about you. She might have wanted to see if you'd rise above the silence. But when you collapsed into it, when you started chasing what was pulling away, you made her decision for her. You became forgettable. Not because she stopped loving you, but because you stopped loving yourself. Understand this. A woman's interest is rarely destroyed in a single moment. It dies slowly, every time you act from insecurity instead of strength. Every time you make her the source of your identity. Every time you respond like a man who has nothing to walk away to. Her silence isn't just about you, it's about your relationship with pain. Because pain reveals everything. Pain will show you your addictions. It will expose the emotional crutches you lean on. It will tell you exactly where you've placed your self-worth, and if you've anchored it to her attention, her love, her presence. Then the moment she withdraws it, you drown. But what if you didn't? What if you didn't text back? What if you didn't beg? What if you didn't try to prove your worth to someone who already knows it, but wants to see if you know it too? What if instead of reacting, you reflected? What if her silence became a mirror, showing you how easily your world crumbles when someone else stops clapping? Would that hurt? Yes. But it would also be the beginning of something far more powerful than validation. Self-respect. Because real strength isn't about how loud you speak, it's about how calm you stay when no one is listening. It's about being okay when someone walks away. Not because it doesn't hurt, but because you've built something inside yourself they were never meant to complete. Let her ego crave your reaction. Let her wonder why you haven't cracked. Let her silence echo into a void she thought you'd fill with desperation. But you won't, because you know something now. This isn't about her ignoring you. It's about whether you'll ignore yourself. You think silence is passive, that doing nothing is weak. But real silence, intentional silence, is a form of dominance. Because in a world addicted to instant validation, attention is currency. And when you withhold yours, it's like shutting off the power in a room full of flickering egos. Suddenly, everything stops. So here's the first step to flipping the script. Withdraw your energy completely. Not just your words, not just your calls, but your presence, your mental investment, your emotional attachment. Stop rehearsing conversations in your head. Stop stalking her Instagram, hoping to decipher her cryptic captions. Stop replaying memories that now exist only in your mind. Withdraw fully. Why? Because where attention goes, power flows. And right now, your energy is feeding the very silence that's suffocating you. Let's get one thing straight. Women feel energy before they hear words. You could ghost her for 3 days, but if your mind is still orbiting around her like a dying planet, she'll feel it. That invisible thread, your longing, your obsession, your need for closure, it lingers. And she senses it. She doesn't feel your absence. She feels your quiet obsession. And that, my friend, doesn't create mystery, it creates disgust. But when you withdraw fully, something strange happens. The psychic cord snaps. She starts to feel what you've been feeling all along. The void. That space you once filled with compliments, check-ins, affection, validation. It's gone now. And for the first time, she's not just experiencing your silence. She's experiencing her own emptiness without you. But let me be clear, this isn't revenge. This isn't a tactic to make her miss you. This is about something much more important. Self-control. Because if you can't pull your energy back from someone who no longer values it, then you've become a slave to your emotions. And a man who's enslaved to emotion is a man who's lost the frame of his own life. When you withdraw, you take back your frame. You return to yourself. You exit the emotional casino where your worth is gambled every time you wait for her to show you you're enough. And this process, it's not easy. You'll feel the itch. The urge to send that just checking in text. The temptation to post something subtle that you hope she'll see. You'll want to prove you're over her by trying to trigger her. Don't fall for it. Because the moment you act from a place of strategy instead of sovereignty, you've already lost. Real withdrawal isn't about getting a reaction. It's about detachment, not coldness, not hate. Just a clean, sharp shift in where your soul invests itself. She used to be your focus? Good. Now shift it. To your purpose. To your craft. To your health, your money, your mind. Not as a distraction, but as a declaration. I was never created to orbit you. I am my own center. This is where most men break. They try to fake detachment while secretly hoping she'll chase. But true power is quiet. It doesn't seek validation. It doesn't ask, did she notice I'm gone? It knows, whether she notices or not, the path forward isn't behind her. And make no mistake, if she's truly emotionally immature, she may try to bait you. She might post seductive photos. She might reply to your old stories just to test the waters. She might even text you casually, acting like nothing happened. But here's the test. Can you stay grounded in silence even when her noise returns? Because that's when most men relapse. The moment they sense they've won her back, they rush in to secure it, to lock her down, to get validation that she still wants them. And just like that, they lose their edge. She pulls back again. The cycle repeats. And your dignity dies one apology at a time. But not you. Not this time. Because now you understand. Withdrawal isn't about punishment. It's about purification. It's about removing her emotional grip so you can recenter your masculine core. So you can choose, with clarity, whether she deserves your presence again, or whether your silence was the best thing that ever happened to you. If she reaches out after you've withdrawn, observe. Don't react. Don't jump at the bait. Don't mistake curiosity for commitment. Ask yourself, is she showing up with depth or just ego? Is she drawn to my growth or just triggered by my absence? You see, when a woman feels you've emotionally detached, it disrupts her ego. Not because she suddenly realizes how much she loves you, but because you've taken away something she thought she'd always have. Your need for her. And when that need dies, you're reborn. So let her feel the absence. Let her sit with her own silence. Let her wonder if she overplayed her hand. While you're not waiting, you're rebuilding, you're rising, not to prove something to her, but to remember something about yourself. Your attention is sacred, your energy is royalty, and it's time you started treating it that way. Step 2, rebuild your aura of mystery and scarcity. You were too available, too predictable, too easy to reach, too easy to read, too desperate to be understood. And that's what killed the attraction, not overnight, but slowly, in tiny moments where your mystery bled out and your presence became a routine. Now that you've withdrawn your energy, here comes the next transformation. You must rebuild your aura. Not the aura of a man who is playing hard to get, but the aura of a man who is hard to reach because his time, his soul, and his energy are no longer for sale. This isn't about pretending, it's about returning. Returning to the version of you she once found irresistible, not because of your words, but because of your silence, because of your unknowability. Here's the uncomfortable truth. People don't chase what's obvious, they chase what's elusive. And when you strip away your layers too fast, when you give your schedule, your emotions, your weaknesses too freely, you become transparent. And transparency, when unearned, is not intimacy, it's boredom. You must understand the psychology of scarcity. What is rare is valuable. What is always available becomes invisible. So when a woman begins to ignore you, she's often reacting to the subtle loss of your value. She no longer wonders about you. She no longer imagines. She no longer feels the absence of your mystery. And now, after you've withdrawn your energy, you have the opportunity to rebuild that mystery, not by retreating into the shadows, but by living with such focused purpose that your absence speaks louder than your presence ever did. That means stop broadcasting your every move. Stop oversharing on social media. Stop trying to look unbothered. That's still a reaction. That's still noise, that's still weak energy. Instead, become the man who moves in silence. Deliberate, intense, sovereign. Let people wonder where you are. Let her wonder what you're building. Let your growth become so personal, so real, so unapologetically private that your life becomes untouchable. You must rewire your identity from someone who needs to be seen to someone who's too busy building something of substance to care who's watching. Because here's the paradox of power. The moment you stop trying to attract, you begin to radiate. And people, especially women, feel that. They feel the shift when a man stops chasing and starts evolving. They sense it when he's no longer trying to impress them because he's already impressed himself. You want to destroy her ego? Stop feeding it. That means no more breadcrumbs, no liking her posts, no replying to just checking in messages, no cute emojis when she drops a casual, "Hey." That's not detachment, that's still dancing for attention. Rebuilding your aura means understanding that she is not the mission, your highest self is. Let her wonder if you've moved on. Let her wonder if someone else has your attention. Let her curiosity torment her because she used to know everything, and now she knows nothing. You don't have to fake mystery. You become mystery by aligning with your purpose. Go silent, go deep, go dangerous. Develop skills, read obsessively. Train until your body mirrors your discipline. Make money, make moves, make art. Do things that aren't loud, but carry weight. Do things that make you undeniably more powerful than when she last saw you. When she ignored you, she thought she was freezing you out. But now she's just locked herself out of the fire you're becoming? Understand this. The reason she could ignore you before is because she thought she knew you. She thought she had access to you. She thought she had you figured out. So now, let her doubt everything. Let her wonder, who is he becoming? Why doesn't he react anymore? Why do I feel like I lost something I didn't even value enough to keep? Let your mystery haunt her ego. But again, this isn't a trick. This isn't manipulation. This is evolution. Because if you're doing this just to get her back, you're still in bondage. You're still making her the center of your transformation, and that's just another form of slavery. Do it because you've seen the truth. A man who lacks mystery is a man who's too available, and a man who's too available is a man who has not yet found himself. Rebuilding your aura of mystery means you no longer speak from the wound. You speak from the wisdom born after the pain. You've grieved, you've detached, you've grown, and now your energy speaks before your mouth ever does. She used to ignore your messages. Now she rereads them. She used to roll her eyes at your presence. Now she checks who viewed her story. She used to feel in control. Now she feels the chill of not knowing where she stands. That's the aura. That's the shift. That's the power of scarcity and silence forged in purpose. And it all begins with one decision. You no longer need her to see your worth. Because now, you do. Step 3. Let her come to you or let her go. Completely now comes the final and most brutal step. The one that separates the man she used to control from the one she will never forget. You either let her come to you or you let her go completely. No halfway, no lingering, no emotional leftovers. Because the most dangerous mistake men make after rebuilding themselves is returning to the woman who once disregarded their worth without requiring a cost. Let's be clear, if she reaches out, whether it's a "Hey stranger," a random meme, or a sudden flood of nostalgia, you must pause. Do not react, do not celebrate, do not assume the game is over. Because often it's not love that pulls her back, it's ego, it's curiosity. It's the terror of losing control over someone she thought she could shelf and summon at will. You must ask yourself with absolute clarity, is she coming back because she's realized my value? Or because she's afraid someone else finally has? One is love. The other is ego preservation dressed in flirtation. And if you don't have the strength to tell the difference, you'll fall right back into the same trap. Except now, you'll betray your growth. So, if she returns, stay calm. Let her energy reveal its nature. Let time do the talking. Does she apologize? Does she acknowledge the silence? Does she take accountability? Or does she act like nothing happened, hoping you'll reset your boundaries just to feel chosen again? Because if she returns without remorse, without effort, without change, then she's not coming back to you. She's coming back to who you used to be, and that version of you doesn't exist anymore. Do not open the door for a ghost. Do not resurrect dead connections just because the loneliness whispers in your ear at night. If she truly sees your value now, she'll prove it. Not with breadcrumbs, but with real investment, real pursuit, real vulnerability. And if she doesn't, then let her go. Fully. No checking in. No waiting for signs. No keeping the door cracked just in case she wakes up one day. You are not a backup plan. You are not emotional comfort food. You are not a lesson she gets to revisit when the world stops entertaining her. Let her feel what it's like to lose access to a man who upgraded in her absence. Not out of spite, but out of self-respect. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't win her back. It's walk away in silence and will never look over your shoulder. That's how you destroy her ego. Not by hurting her, not by becoming cold or cruel, but by becoming so complete without her that she realizes too late. You weren't the one who needed to earn her. She was the one who failed to keep you. Understand this, you don't owe her a second chance just because she finally sees your glow. Your healing wasn't a performance for her applause. Your growth wasn't a strategy, it was survival. You've outgrown the version of yourself that used to crave her attention like oxygen. Now you breathe differently, deeper, stronger, wiser. And if she wants to be part of this new atmosphere, she has to earn her way into it. She has to meet the standards you now hold. She has to speak a new language, one of consistency, clarity, and contribution. No more games, no more silence wars, no more power struggles disguised as romance. And if she can't offer that, if all she brings back is pretty words and old patterns, then walk away. Not because you're bitter, but because you're better. Better than the emotional loops. Better than the addiction to being wanted. Better than the illusion that her attention equals your value. Let her go completely and mean it. Delete the messages you still reread. Mute her stories you keep watching in secret. Stop romanticizing a version of her that never actually existed. You don't need closure from her. You need clarity within you. She ignored you. She tested you. She pulled back to see if you'd collapse. And instead of collapsing, you rose. You rebuilt. You recalibrated. You remembered. Now you understand. What destroys her ego isn't that you fought for her. It's that you stopped. It's that you no longer orbit her mood swings. It's that you no longer compete with her phone. It's that she lost access to a man who learned to choose himself first. So, if she comes back, let it be on your terms, not from your wounds. And if she doesn't, let her absence be a blessing in disguise. Because now you're free. Free to become the man you were meant to be before you handed your power away. The silence she gave you, you turned it into strength. The pain she caused, you turned it into purpose. The void she left behind, you filled it with something she never expected. A man who no longer needs her to be whole. And that, right there, is what destroys her ego more than anything you could ever say or do.